Okay, let's do another retirement calculation looking at a different variable. It's quite common that you might want to stay in your house for a long period of time during retirement, but you might want the income to stay the same. In other words, the house is paid off, but you've become accustomed to not having a house payment, so your standard of living is higher. So instead of reducing your spending for the house payment, let's leave the house payment in your spending and increase the amount of retirement income that you want per month. So in this example, we're going to start with, again, $60,000 today, but we're going to leave the house payment in and change that and not change that at all. So instead of the $42,000 with the house payment and the house paid off, we're going to leave it at $60,000. We're still going to try to retire in 30 years, and we're going to leave the 4% inflation in there. So now we need to calculate a different return or amount of money that is required for $60,000 over 30 years at 4%, as opposed to $42,000 over 30 years at 4%. So this calculation, we simply grab our time value of money calculator, turn it on, clear, second, clear time value of money, and we find that 30 years is N, I is the inflation rate, 4%, our present value is $60,000, not the $42,000. We have no payment, zero payment, compute future value, $194,603. So we need $194,603 in future inflation-adjusted dollars to compare with our $60,000 that we need today. So 4% inflation over 30 years for $60,000 turns into $194,603. If we still subtract out our $36,000 in Social Security income, we can do that easily by simply hitting the equal sign to clear the time value money future value, hit the plus or minus sign to get it back to positive, simply hit minus $36,000 equals $158,603. $158,603 is how much money needs to be able to be withdrawn from your savings, your IRA, your 401k, to be able to afford retirement if you get $36,000 in Social Security income and you need to spend $194,000, or you want to spend $194,603. So this compares to $100,000 with a $42,000 a month spending plan, inflation adjusted. So we simply continue to find out how much money we need to have saved by doing a simple time value of money calculation. We still are at 4% in our return during retirement. $250,000 is our estate. 30 years is your time frame. So you basically have payment, interest rate, you have the future value, and you have N. So this is a simple time value of money calculation to find the present value, which is the amount of money you need to have saved 30 years from now. So let's look at this calculation on the calculator. We already have $158,603 in there. That's our payment, so you just hit payment. We have 30 years for N, 4% I, $250,000 for a future value, compute present value, $2.819 million. So $2.8 million is the amount of money you have to save so you can withdraw at what feels like $60,000 a year today in inflation-adjusted dollars 30 years from now. That compares to $1.8 million if you only live on $42,000 per year and don't spend your house payment. In other words, if you have raised your standard of living because you have paid off your house to keep that standard of living in retirement and keep the house, then you need to have saved more money. That makes sense to a lot of people, but how much money you have to save requires you to do a little bit of math. So as you can say, we've manipulated another variable here. In this case, it's the amount of money that we need to have live on during retirement. Clearly, this is more money, considerably more money than we used in the previous example, which shows that you need more money to be saved to be able to live on it. So let's continue our examples and manipulate another variable going forward.